like and subscribe. What is your weirdest deal breaker in a potential relationship? Spitting. Nothing turns my stomach more when you see a guy hawking one up in the street. Swallow it, you disgusting pig. You have no idea how many times I have googled why do men spit so much, lol. I cannot stand that either. Regular spit or the more nasty phlegm white kind. Yeah, I'll just be pumping gas and look down and a big wad will be there on the ground that you have to try to step over. And also, my boyfriend has horrible allergies. He constantly stays hawking crap up and sometimes he'll do it in the sink and not wash it all the way down. You best believe I say something like do it in the toilet and then flush. I don't want to be brushing my teeth and look down to some gross crap all in the sink d-dash. It's the thing I dislike most in my husband, but clearly wasn't quite a deal breaker. Married 30 years now. Yes. It makes me want to throw up. How can they do it? I've never seen anyone from my family or friends do it. It is really frowned upon in my family. Due to dementia, my grandpa recently started, and grandma gets angry every time. Oh my god, I work in construction and it's non-stop men chain smoking and spitting ugh. OMG. This. I never knew any guys that spat. Until I got to All Vertical Bar, I was so beyond disgusted. Guys who still have celebrity crushes / follow Instagram models / e-girls. It sounds weird, but I don't have celebrity crushes. I don't get crushes on YouTubers or guys on Instagram or celebrities. Even if they look good, I just don't get crushes on them. I don't fantasize about them. When I was 16 I had celebrity crushes, but I grew out of it. Now I just see it as kinda childish when an adult is obsessed with someone who would never in a million years want them. It seems degrading to me. I just cannot take a guy seriously if he goes on and on about how hot Scarlett Johansson is, because it makes me think she would be cringing right now. If she could hear this, she would never even look at you, and I get secondhand embarrassment. Yo, I absolutely agree with the following models and e-girls thing. It feels like vertical bar, I don't even know. It is just weird. It is weird that adults do that. Also, your name is intense. I agree. It's fine to think that a celebrity is attractive, but it's another thing to be full on obsessed over someone you don't know. Ugh, not the IG models. My ex followed quite a few. They were not huge, but still, and lied to me saying he knew them from high school. Either way, I think my insecurities would get to the best of me. Not sure if I'd rather not see it or know it. If I notice a guy follows a bunch of teen looking porn accounts and OnlyFans models. Immediate turn off and deal breaker. Same. I can easily acknowledge when a celebrity etc. is attractive, but I don't crush on them or fantasize about them. I wouldn't be with a guy who went on about this or followed models / pages. It's not a jealousy thing, it just gives me a mental picture of a young inexperienced dude who can't control himself and is devoted to his urges. Whether this is true or not, it doesn't matter. Once my mind goes there, I lose all attraction. If they are extremely religious, odd, but yes. Not odd to me, but I'm atheist. So I couldn't at all have a relationship with someone that was too religious either. Religious compatibility is high on most people's lists. Weird that you'd think this was odd. Yeah, this isn't odd at all. Religious beliefs should be a top consideration when deciding whether a relationship will work. Does your partner believe you're going to hell? When something horrific happens to you, will your partner think it's all part of God's plan, is supposed to comfort you? Will your partner have premarital sex with you? And if so, does that make them a hypocrite in terms of their other beliefs? Will you always worry that they are judging you? Will you judge them for the way they interpret facts? Will they resent you if you don't go to services with them? Or will you resent them for going to services when you want to do something else? Is their religion tied into their political beliefs? And if so, will they be voting against all the things that you see as good and just? How will you raise the kids? How will you spend the holidays? There are just so many factors that can grind at a relationship when both people are not on the same page, or at least in the same book, religiously. Not odd at all. Atheist myself, we could never have a relationship. Not odd for an atheist, I think. Dated a guy who was kind of religious, and in his religion, women are supposed to do whatever their husbands say without questioning it. Such a deal breaker. Mine would be hands. I have a thing for hands and I am just not attracted if the guy has feminine hands or long nails. Fatter as an oak for me. Voice. If his voice is high-pitched, I lose attraction. Also loudness. Some men are loud, no matter what they do, eat, watch TV etc. I am a very quiet person and it messes me up. Had a friend, that ate his food like a pig. He would make all kinds of loud noises, slurping and crunching. Sauce would run down his mouth. I hated seeing that, and he actually claimed that eating food in a certain way made the food taste better. Hands for me too. But then I actually like slender hands, kinda like piano hands. Those are not feminine. To me personally, I just really dislike stumpy plus short plus hairy hands. Plus long fingernails are such a turn off for me. That's so funny, because I'm the opposite. I love slender hands on a man and actually don't like super stocky manly hands. Although I agree on the long nails and high-pitched voice. Thank you on the voices thing. I have 100% immediately lost interest in people because of their voice. It is why, before I met my fiancé, I would make sure to talk to people on the phone, if I met them online, before we went on a date. Went on one date with someone without speaking to them first, heard their voice and went nope. Made the rest of the date super awkward. OMG, I feel you on the hands. I went on a date with this guy, who was really nice, but his nails were all uneven. And it turned me off so much. Oh yeah, I love good big strong hands with veins showing. I cannot stand men that are incapable of fixing things around the house. Whether it is putting IKEA furniture together, or hanging lamps on a ceiling, or whatever, they need to be able to do something. I can do all this by myself, but feel way better if my son does it together with me. I feel this so much. My mom does a lot of household projects, vintage furniture refinishing / reupholstering, installing vintage woodwork, and stained glass windows into the house, new paint every few years, etc. And though she is perfectly capable and very talented, my dad never helps her. More than once she has gotten injured moving a big piece of furniture by herself. She has also hung the Christmas lights on the outside of their 2-story house every year for as long as I can remember. I am 29. I have inherited a lot of these type of interests from my mom, and certainly enjoy doing a lot of household stuff by myself, but I really like having a partner who is ready and willing to help if I ask. Helps that he is much taller than me to lol. Same. At the very minimum he should be at my level in getting that sort of stuff done around the house. Yo this. My dad is like this. I'd immediately marry anyone with these skills, but men my age, 40, don't seem to have them. Hells yes, it's like Legos for grown-ups. I agree quote I find it somehow confusing when a guy doesn't even try to do, meaning fix, anything around the house. I come from the family where men do, and fix a lot around the house, and encourage us women to come and help them a little, so we know and understand what they are doing ATM. As a result, all is fixed, and I'm confident that I'm able to do some of the stuff in the future too. Win-win situation quote. If they don't love cats, not only should they like them, they should love cats. IDK. What if they love cats, but don't want to have one at home, because they prefer their clothes to be 100% cotton instead of 60% cotton and 40% cat fur? This. Also no dogs. I will not date a dog owner. It's the cat *HATING* that gets to me. Some people have a violent hatred of cats for no discernible reason other than it's somehow socially acceptable. What about allergies? Is that a deal breaker? This is my main deal breaker too, and allergies to them. Also, I love dogs, but I'd be hesitant to date someone with a dog, because I am scared they'd hurt my cats. Preach. Do not touch my neck, ever. Keep your hands out of my curly hair. I've only had to tell non-black people this. Do not grab, grope or slap my unless requested. Guys I'd known since I was 5, along with grown men, started trying that mess when I was 11. I will you up if you grab me unexpectedly. Yes. Body autonomy the utmost important. Absolutely this. I wear extensions and tell guys I do, but they still try to put their hands in my hair. Most take the initial hint, but one dude was constantly overstepping this. In the end I had to tell him to off. Personally, boundaries could include anything you're not comfortable with. My hair is quite straight and I agree, keep the hands off it. My ex used to try and run his hands through it, which would catch the tangle/create knots, and he tried to yank through them. It was painful. He also requested to wash my hair once, which I didn't mind, but he just piled all my hair up and started vigorously scrubbing, like he was getting at a stubborn stain. I have never felt such pain. I had to stop him right away, and it took ages to detangle my hair afterwards. This isn't odd at all, or shouldn't be at least. God forbid people respect another person's physical boundaries. Recreational use of drugs of any kind including weed. As an avid stoner, F23, engaged to a straight-edge dude, M26, I completely support this. Every person has the right to choose what they're okay with in a relationship. If my fiance asked me to stop smoking weed, I would do it in a heartbeat. I love weed, but it's nothing compared to the person I love. Alcohol too. Just broke up with my BF and added weed to my list of things that are deal breakers. I used to think it was okay because my best friend does it, but I am not a smoker and I watched him spend tons of money on the stuff, but cold no, it spend money where it actually needed to go. In the end, one of my reasons for breaking up was because I felt like he put more energy into finding weed than he did into dating me. He moved to my city, which was brand new to him, and told me he cold no take me out on dates because he did not know the area, but during his first year here he had 5 different places/people to buy weed from through his own research and asking around. He literally would not even Google for me. Plus addictions usually lead to more addictions, and I am really trying to avoid all of that. Finally someone said this. Same. The smell of weed makes me nauseous and gives me a headache. Can't imagine living with that. This is in my top 3 deal breakers. And alcohol is okay, but very moderately and not an everyday thing. Guys who are on TikTok and make TikToks/reels. I am sorry, but that is cringy AF for me. I agree with this one totally. Being into crypto. OMG this lol. That's funny. My wife hates it. She's an accountant, so she thinks stocks, crypto, and gambling casinos are all the same thing. She is not wrong. Bruh, I swear they are like the new vegans talking at it 24/7. Brewer, but did you see the new altcoin? If I need to tie my shoes or something, and ask him to hold my bag/purse, and he gets RLY uncomfortable by holding something feminine. Wow, I would never imagine that a bag/purse can pose such a threat to one's masculinity. There are a few, but a main one is how they treat others. Because that is usually how they will treat you when the honeymoon phase wears off. I don't think that is a weird one. That is a perfectly reasonable one. One of the reasons I fell in love with my partner is how caring he was to his friends, making sure they got home safe etc. I had an ex that treated wait staff like dirt, and Uber drivers, etc. And I spoke to him multiple times about it. He altered his behavior around me, but I'm sure it was not something he did when I wasn't around, and it drove me nuts. It was a short-lived relationship. Especially how he treats his mother. Very representative of how he thinks of women in general. Men that spend thousands on their hobbies just to turn down the heater in winter because heating is expensive. Eat cheap and unhealthy at home, but go out to expensive restaurants every week. Haha, that feels like a personal attack to me. Yes. This so much. I'm an audiophile, so the music taste and his voice. For me it's overall their relationship with music. Some people don't even have their own taste or care for music that much, and I love listening to music and discussing it. Music taste tells you so much about a person and your compatibility. Definition: get that. Music for me is more so like, if they like music at all. Whenever I hear people say they hate music, I legit feel my world spin. Lol. Glad I'm not alone. When guys have horrible music taste, it turns me off. I'm such a music snob, so I just cancel it. My dyslexia ed me over on this comment, and for a moment I thought you said the taste of his voice. Genuinely terrifying for a moment. Lol. OMG so much. Dated a guy who was way into dubstep and basically nothing else once, and that is so not my scene. Bring me to a rave and I will run away. Never again. On that same note, I cannot wait to go to concerts again. Guys my age who still use Snapchat. Automatic block from me. How old are you? Biggest red flag. Snapchat is for dudes who ghost. Totally agree if it is used when in the initial dating phase to chat. But I have been with my partner for years now, and sometimes I send him Snapchats of my lunch, or of our pets doing something dumb, or he will send me an update on the construction at his business. Stuff you don't want to keep, but wanted to share in that moment. Whether at the tail end of our 20s. Do you still hate it in a similar context or just for dating? Weird, but I get it, and now I agree. Lol. Maybe this is because I am 18, but when I ask people for their Snap/number they always give their Snap. Snap seems to be preferred. Might be a cultural thing too. Phone numbers are considered weirdly intimate in Sweden in my experience. Disagree. I'm 28 and I prefer Snapchat over texting when I'm online dating. It just seems safer. They can't keep my photos, and they do not get any personal info that could be used to find more personal info. Plus if something happens, and I don't want to contact them/them to contact me, it is so much easier to block them, and they can never find me again. Smell/taste of their mouth and/body. It must be right or it cannot work. I guess that comes down to physical/chemical compatibility. Oh my god, this. I dated a guy whose sweat smelled like food. It was a really strong smell. We had sex exactly once, and the room smelled like a restaurant kitchen. That's when I knew it was over. Yes. Taste is very important, and if it is right it is a huge turn on right there and then. I guess body chemistry has something to do with it. It tells us which partner is genetically compatible. And in my career, lol, of kissing guys, I have only ever experienced that with my now husband. He used to smoke, and I hated taste of cigarettes, but his natural taste always pushed through that. Very interesting indeed. Same for me. I just can't date a guy who doesn't smell good to me. Oral hygiene is huge for me as well. I hate the thought of kissing someone who doesn't brush/floss regularly. I cannot stand overgroomed beards and strange haircuts, waxed, sharp buzz-cut lines, fades etc. Men who dress up classy always, everywhere and last Peaky Blinders flat caps. No. Oh god this. Well honestly I'm unsure what you mean about classy, but yes to the overgroomed/overstyled look. And by yes I mean EWW. Anything that screams high maintenance is a hard pass. I also just dislike the look. I like guys who wear timeless/simple/not overdone outdoorsy clothing, and have hair that could look like they just got back from a camping trip where they showered with biodegradable soap in a creek. This made me laugh. I'm in a relationship and we don't do it thankfully, but for me one would be a guy who loudly and deliberately burps. For some weird reason I don't know mine. If my soap passes wine dramatically at home, it is even kind of funny, but if he started loudly and unapologetically burping the way some guys do, I'd be so disgusted. For some reason farts don't bother me, but burping is just so disgusting. Like if you accidentally burp, say pardon me, or whatever and move on, but the long drawn out on purpose burps? Absolutely hate it, and could not be around someone who does it. I think it is, because I have always hated the noise, and I hate how it is so acceptable for men to burp as loudly and drawn out as they can without any manners whatsoever. You would hate my boyfriend D. My husband does this with farts and burps, and I hate it. Farts and is bad to me because he has intestinal issues and says it hurts him to keep gas in, but the burps? They're not even burps, they're belches. Loud, open-mouthed stanky belches. We'll be sitting on the couch, and he'll let rip, and the room smells like vomit, which makes me almost vomit. He says I'm being overdramatic about it, but it's so rude it borders on hostile. Just, he makes the room smell like a puddle of puke. My ex burped all the time and it truly became a factor of our breakup. I couldn't stand it. Girl, yes, I can't stand when people burp so loudly and unapologetically. It's so unattractive. Girl, I hate it too. But I was so mad, and in love once that I ignored his constant burping. Once we broke up I realized what a fool I was. A lack of self-awareness. Some people can't read a room, are blind to different perspectives, and don't consider how they can impact the lives of others. At best, it's embarrassing and at worst, it's completely offensive. An unwillingness to hang out outdoors. I like being outside. If doing anything more than walking from building to car is like pulling teeth, we are utterly incompatible. My current GF is like this, it's our biggest source of arguments. Just watch a god sunset with me. Sit under a tree and read with me. I can't stand how much all she wants to do is watch TV. What about if you live in FL? The only place I'll gladly hang out outside in my state is the beach, camping and ecto jam, eating outside if the humidity is low, and watching thunderstorms. Being outside between 10 and 6 in the summer is just asking for numerous showers and changes of clothes. But when I'm out of state, yeah, let's hike. If they are so socially awkward that it makes the people around them uncomfortable. I once dated someone I knew over the internet. Bad idea, I know. I visited for the first time and he would not stop staring at me. It was so uncomfortable. I told him to stop multiple times, but he just wouldn't it. Staring with big and wide eyes. IDK if he did that, but that is what I imagine reading your comment. If they don't like horror stuff. I need a partner who'll watch horror films and play horror games with me. Let us be friends. I need someone who plays a horror game while I sit next to them. To scream together? That's sweet. My boyfriend is not a fan of horror movies either. He is actually not even a huge movie person. When he does watch, he likes things he is already familiar with and he is more of a goofy movie type. Step Brothers or any other movie with Will Ferrell and those type of actors. Cannot stand it. I'd love to have this in a partner, because horror is probably my main hobby/interest, but I wouldn't require it, because it's just so hard to find. Seems like every guy is either too scared of horror to watch it, or they're too grossed out. Literally same. Horror is so special and important to me, I don't think I could date anyone who doesn't love it, or at least enjoy it. So Egil Mayo. Back when I was still single, it was anyone who used her instead of your UN ironically. Just, no. Same, if I'm texting someone, and they use a lot of chat speak, I lose interest. What do you do with all that free time you've saved, by spelling you as you? I was reading the replies on this thread wondering what is a deal breaker for me besides the big obvious ones, and you got it. I have a few, but my weirdest would probably be a bad speller. If I notice via text that you cannot spell, I'm turned off from going further. And I also hate men who consistently brag. I will cut the conversation short immediately. Another vote for bad spelling. I feel kind of mean saying it but it really puts me off. LMAO, I had a friend that I was initially into that cold not spell. It was so bad that I asked him once if he had his autocorrect on. I just cold not believe autocorrect let him misspell so many things so many times. He also would say words wrong. I am guessing the way he thought they were spelled, and it bothered me so much that I truly just saw him as an attractive friend. Another vote for constant brag. I try to cut the topic short, and they come back to the brag, repeating the same thing, because I did not respond. Bad spelling and grammar is definitely my biggest turnoff. They're friends. I strongly believe that you are the company you keep, and if the majority of their friends are assholes, then that could make me worried about him. Of course there is many exceptions to this. My mom always said you are who your friends are, which infuriated me as a teen, but at the ripe old age of 31, I am like, yep, you're so right. What if they don't have any friends? This is a big one I did not see until much too late. All of my ex-worst friend had huge character flaws, even if they were renegade bad people. And he had things he hugely disliked about all of them, but still kept them around. Like you said, you are definitely the company you keep. Being a picky eater. I love to cook, especially foods from other cultures and lots of flavor and spice. If they only want to eat McDonald's nuggets and Kraft mac and cheese, that is a hard no from me. Especially if they do not eat any vegetables. Grow up, you are not a toddler. Thighs. I have a coworker whose husband wanna eat veggies and loves man which steel low vertical bar, also hates onion so vertical bar. Yes, this. I understand if the person is autistic, or has sensory/texture issues, but if they are just picky, grow up. I know exactly how you feel. I'm former chef and love cooking. I would be heartbroken if I couldn't treat my son with fancy food, because he eats only few things. If he's the type to say Saturdays are for the boys, that's a run in the other direction. I feel like a lot of women know what I mean with this one. Also, anyone who is really into sports. Just not my type and it's unattractive to me. Edit, or someone who is super into meat and needs it at every meal. If you're not enthusiastic and supportive of vegans, then that's a huge incompatibility. Same, especially with the vegan part. But they all went vegan anyway, lol. The way they drive. If they roll down the windows to put their elbows out, or if at the red light, they're incessantly pressing on the gas to make noise, it's a no from me. Also, I could not be with someone who uses electric scooters, trottinette electrique, by itself. What about an elbow resting on a windowsill annoys you? Genuinely curious. It's very comfy and refreshing if the breeze is nice. I totally get what you're talking about, but I am a tall guy with long arms, and I swear I am not trying to look cool. It is just a comfy place to rest my arm. Oh god, electric scooters. I'm out there, I'm sure they're fun, but you look like a 10-year-old in the weirdest way possible. The elbow thing triggers me too, lol. D pounds. Even if it's while visiting another city/country with the rental ones, lol. I had much fun with my ex driving them in Stockholm. Not tolerating any spiciness in food. Looking at you, Bill. The absolute worst. Whenever people are like jalapenos are not tolerable, I only go vertical bar. Do you know what true heat is? I have had a friend who refused to eat what I cooked because it had 1/2 teaspoon of sriracha in it. I got so frustrated because it was less than half of what the recipe called for, and you could not taste it at all. Needless to say, Theo have not been invited to dinner since. Took me a secretary to realize who Bill is and why he spells his name like that, lol. Also, I live for spicy foods. If they think Ben *PIRO is smart. His wife though. She's a doctor. Yes. Snoring. Like obnoxious snoring that keeps me awake. A marriage where we sleep in the same bed would never work. Not even worth trying, lol. I agree. My ex was falling asleep very quickly and snoring very loudly. Guess who was cranky and upset in the morning? And no, it wasn't him. He also couldn't understand what my problem was. My fiancé does this. Fortunately for him, I love him too much to let him go, but I agree with you. It is the most annoying thing in the entire world. If there was one thing I could change, this would be it. This. Good sleep equals happy life. My ex did mild snoring day to day, but I went to bed earlier than him for work and I am a hard sleeper, so not much of an issue. However, whenever he drank, which was multiple times a week, because he is very extroverted and trying to live like he is still in his 20 years, not my style, which is another reason it did not work. He would snore like a freight train and I'd always end up going to the guest bedroom to sleep. There were times I could hear him through the walk still. I'd get irritated with him too, When I'm sick and coughing, I'd go to the guest room, so I would not wake him, and then also go, when he was drunk. Like if you are causing the issue, you go to the guest room. Yes, snoring I snore it that bad to me, but if it are as loud as hell that as a hard one. Same. A guy who rides a motorcycle. Agree. Would never get serious about someone who could end up a sneer on the sidewalk or worse want me to join him in it. No thank you. Lee. Related to another thread today, a guy who is weird about shaving, and body hair and shaves, or waxes himself to hairless. First off, the stubble feels gross to me, the aesthetic looks gross to me. 2, I don't do that, and don't want to be with someone who expects that of me either. Finally, it reminds me of my ex, so also a hard pass. I swear he turned me into someone into bears. I don't begrudge hairless mole rat looking dudes their preferences, but it's not my preference. I don't mind if a dude is naturally not super hairy. My most recent ex wasn't particularly hairy, but a guy who shaves his everything for appearance reasons is a hard pass. Maybe if a guy shaved for sports, but otherwise wasn't weird about hair could be okay. 100% agreed. I don't want to date a hairless prepubescent boy. I like men how nature intended, hairy. Yes. I get the shaving part. I myself hate looking like a naked mole rat, but what about trimming the hair? For me, it's completely the opposite. I'm one of those guys, so I wouldn't want a hairy woman. Would it be the same way if the person had sensory issues and removed hair because of that, but didn't expect it from you/their partners? I only ask as this was me up until a few years ago when it finally stopped being a major bother for me to have body hair, and I'm always interested to hear how people would react in that situation. Obviously it depends on the individual situation, but I feel that a sensory issue isn't something most people think of as a situation who don't already deal with sensory problems in some facet. If you choose to answer, thank you. If not, I understand that too. There is a certain type of laugh and facial expression I have learned to associate with insult types, even the ones who can fake decent social functioning. They seem to literally try to emulate the troll face, use certain vocabulary, and inevitably evolve into misogynistic weirdo creeps as time passes, and they figure they have trapped you into liking them. They give me immediate goosebumps now, and I bail with no hesitation or explanation. And laugh at the inevitable nice guy rant that follows. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, and that's a deal breaker for me too. Oh yes. That one. You know, all the women they are friends with in work and passing have been humoring them. No one wants to call them out on how uncomfortable they make people. A large amount of debt and/or bad credit. I don't think that's a weird deal breaker at all. I think it is really smart, especially if you're hoping the relationship will last long term. This is really smart. Yes. I don't know if this is weird, but unsolicited commenting on other women's appearance, positive or negative, is a deal breaker for me. I met a guy on a dating app once, and in trying to pick something from his profile to talk about, I noticed he was into fitness, which I'm too, and that he bought a Peloton during COVID. So I said, how do you like the Peloton? I've been thinking about getting one. Mind you, this was in my first or second message to him, right after hi. He said he preferred CrossFit, but the Peloton classes had some good eye candy. Another guy I met on an app and talked to on the phone a few times volunteered that he followed eye candy on Instagram. Come to think of it, both of them use that exact phrase. Next. And that is what as you call negging SMH. Belonging to an organized religion, and also being politically conservative. Also not eating mayo. Vegan. Provided that they do not act morally superior, or try to guilt trip/convert non-vegans, I have nothing against them. I just love meat. I have several vegans in my life currently. They all claim to not care that I eat meat, but they all make snide comments pretty frequently about my eating habits. It drives me insane. I dated a vegetarian once, and he was an absolute sweetheart. Then I turned vegan, and dated a hardcore omnivore. I was always worried to not come off as a morally superior guilt-tripping vegan. If he's super messy and hoards unnecessary things. I grew up in a household where my parents hoarded unnecessary things, and so the house was always cluttered, and now I have a fear of my house becoming cluttered. Men who are renoed covered in chest and arm hair. I need that scruff. I love me a caveman. Same. Dating a guy with less body hair than I do would just be off-putting. It is probably like dating a prepubescent. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.